The arrival. The dark expanse of space shimmered as a fleet of massive alien warships emerged from hyperspace, their sleek metallic hulls reflecting the distant starlight. Earth hung below, a vibrant blue orb, seemingly fragile yet teeming with life. The flagship, Ereathal, dwarfed even the largest of Earth's satellites, its ominous presence casting a long shadow over the planet. On board the flagship, Admiral Callus Trak, the seasoned leader of the Threxan Dominion, stood with his hands clasped behind his back. His crimson eyes scanned the holographic projection of Earth with disdain. To him, humanity was nothing more than another primitive species to conquer, another stepping stone in the Dominion's relentless expansion. "Status report," Callus ordered, his voice cold and commanding. "Admiral, the planet shows signs of advanced infrastructure," replied First Officer Jen Tharek, her voice tinged with surprise. "Radio transmissions, artificial satellites, and indications of planetary defense systems. They are more developed than our initial reconnaissance suggested." Callus sneered. "Primitive ingenuity is still primitive. Deploy the fleet. Their resistance, if any, will be short-lived." On Earth. First contact. In the sprawling command center of the Global Defense Coalition, GDC, chaos erupted as the alien fleet was detected. Alarms blared, and large monitors displayed live feeds of the alien ships hovering menacingly above Earth's atmosphere. General Elena Cross, a stern woman with piercing gray eyes, took charge. "Initiate first contact protocols," she barked. "We need to buy time to assess their capabilities and prepare a response." Across the globe, leaders and military strategists scrambled to understand the threat. The GDC sent out a transmission, a plea for communication. A holographic image of General Cross appeared in the alien command room aboard Ereathal. "This is General Elena Cross of the Global Defense Coalition," she began, her voice steady despite the gravity of the situation. "We seek dialogue. There is no need for hostility." Callus scoffed, leaning forward to address the projection. "Your planet belongs to the Threxan Dominion now. Submit, and you may survive to serve." General Cross's jaw tightened. "Earth does not bow to threats. If it's a fight you're looking for, we will defend ourselves." Callus ended the transmission with a wave of his hand. "Foolish creatures," he muttered. "Prepare for an orbital strike. A unified defense." Back on Earth, General Cross convened with her top scientists and military advisors. Among them was Dr. Marcus Ainsley, a brilliant astrophysicist known for his unconventional thinking. "We can't match their firepower," Dr. Ainsley said, his voice urgent. "But we can outthink them. Humanity's strength has always been our adaptability." Cross nodded. "What's your proposal, Marcus?" "We've been developing an experimental electromagnetic pulse weapon," Ainsley explained. "It's designed to disable advanced technology temporarily. If we can lure their ships into range, we might be able to neutralize their systems long enough to strike back." Cross's eyes narrowed. "And the risks?" "It's untested on this scale," Ainsley admitted. "If it fails, we'll be defenseless." General Cross considered the gamble. "We have no choice. Deploy the EMP arrays and prepare the decoy ships. We're about to show them what humanity is capable of." The first strike. As the alien fleet moved into position, Earth's skies lit up with fiery trails of atmospheric entry. Alien drones descended on key cities, targeting infrastructure and military bases. The destruction was swift and merciless. But humanity was not idle. Decoy fleets of automated drones, appearing as piloted fighter jets, launched into the skies, drawing the attention of the Threxan forces. "Admiral, the humans are deploying countermeasures," Jenth reported. "Pitiful," Callus sneered. "Destroy them." Unbeknownst to the Threxan fleet, the decoy ships were guiding them toward strategically placed EMP arrays hidden across Earth's surface. As the alien ships entered the designated zone, General Cross gave the order. "Fire the EMP." A massive burst of electromagnetic energy erupted from the ground, creating a dazzling cascade of light that spread across the sky. Threxian ships flickered as their systems began to fail. Panic rippled through the alien fleet. "Admiral, our systems are compromised," Jenth shouted. "Shields are down, weapons offline." Callus's crimson eyes widened in disbelief. "Impossible. These primitives. Humanity strikes back." As the alien ships faltered, Earth's military forces launched a coordinated assault. Fighter jets armed with advanced weaponry, developed in secrecy, soared into the fray. Soldiers on the ground utilized cutting-edge exosuits, allowing them to confront the Threxian drones with precision and power. Amidst the chaos, Dr. Ainsley and his team worked tirelessly in a secure underground bunker. "We've bought ourselves some time," he said, "but we need to develop a long-term strategy. The aliens will adapt." General Cross, watching the battle unfold on the monitors, nodded grimly. "Then we'll have to adapt faster." As Earth's forces pushed back the initial wave, the true nature of humanity began to shine. This was not just a fight for survival. It was a fight to prove that no force, no matter how advanced, could crush the unyielding spirit of humanity. The turning point. The skies over Earth were alive with chaos as humanity and the Threxian invaders clashed in a desperate battle for survival. Explosions lit the heavens, streaks of fire marked the descent of alien drones, and Earth's forces rallied with a tenacity that no other species could muster. Yet even as the initial EMP strike had disoriented the Threxian fleet, the tide of war was far from turned. An unexpected ally. Far from the front lines, in the shadowed depths of a subterranean command bunker, Dr. Marcus Ainsley worked feverishly with his team. Streams of data scrolled across holographic displays as they analyzed the aftereffects of the EMP attack. His voice was hoarse from hours of strained explanations. "It worked, but it's only a temporary reprieve," Ainsley warned, pointing to a projection of the fleet. "Their systems are beginning to recover. We need a more permanent solution." General Alina Cross paced behind him, her expression as sharp as the lines of her military uniform. "What about their technology? Is there anything we can use against them?" One of Ainsley's assistants, a young engineer named Lila Moreno, hesitated before speaking. "There might be, but we'd need to get closer. Their flagship, Erechthal, seems to be the source of their fleet's command signals. If we could infiltrate it." Cross raised an eyebrow. "Infiltrate an alien flagship? Are you volunteering, Moreno?" The young engineer flushed, but didn't back down. "If we don't act now, this fight is over. I'll go if I have to." "Not alone," Ainsley said firmly. "If we're doing this, we need someone who knows how to stay alive under fire." All eyes turned to Captain Jake Trask, a rugged veteran with a reputation for surviving impossible missions. He leaned against the doorway, arms crossed, a faint smirk tugging at his lips. "Guess that's my cue," Trask said. "Let's steal us a ship." The plan takes shape. The mission was simple in theory, but execution would be anything but. Trask, Moreno, and a small strike team would infiltrate Erechthal using a stealth shuttle equipped with newly developed cloaking technology. Their objective: plant a viral payload in the flagship's mainframe to disrupt the Threxian fleet's communications and targeting systems. The GDC mobilized resources quickly. Engineers worked around the clock to modify the shuttle, while Moreno and Ainsley refined the virus. Trask and his team prepared for the inevitable dangers they would face. As the team gathered in the hangar, Trask addressed them. "Listen up. This mission isn't just about Earth. It's about sending a message. No matter how advanced they are, no one invades our home and walks away unscathed." His words struck a chord, and the team's resolve hardened. The infiltration. The cloaked shuttle slipped past the chaos of the battle, weaving through the debris of destroyed ships and evading the Threxian fleet's recovering sensors. Moreno sat beside Trask in the cockpit, her hands trembling slightly as she monitored the systems. "Relax, kid," Trask said, his tone almost casual. "Nerves won't help us now." "I'm fine," Moreno replied, though the crack in her voice betrayed her unease. "Good, because if we pull this off, you're buying the drinks when this is over." The tension in the shuttle eased just enough to allow a few chuckles from the crew. The Eregthal loomed before them, its massive form a fortress of alien engineering. As they approached the ship's docking bay, Moreno activated the cloaking system's decoupling protocol. For a moment, the shuttle became visible, but the Threxans, still reeling from the EMP attack, failed to notice. The shuttle landed with a faint hiss, and Trask led the team into the flagship's labyrinthine interior. Inside the beast, the corridors of Eregthal pulsed with an eerie green light. Organic materials fused with advanced metals gave the walls an otherworldly, almost living appearance. The team moved swiftly and silently, relying on Trask's leadership and Moreno's technical expertise to navigate the ship's defenses. They reached the central data hub, a massive chamber filled with pulsating conduits and glowing interfaces. Moreno's eyes widened as she took in the alien technology. "This is incredible," she whispered, awestruck. "Focus," Trask said sharply. "Get that virus planted, and let's get out of here." Moreno nodded and approached the main console. As she worked, the rest of the team secured the area, their weapons at the ready. Suddenly, an alarm blared. "Looks like they've noticed us," Trask muttered. "Hold the line." Phrexan guards stormed into the chamber, their elongated forms moving with unsettling precision. A fierce firefight erupted as the human team fought to buy Moreno the time she needed. The virus deploys. Moreno's fingers flew over the console as alien code scrolled across the interface. Sweat dripped down her forehead, but she ignored it, her focus unyielding. "Almost there," she murmured. Behind her, Trask and the team held their ground, but the Threxans were relentless. One soldier fell, then another. "Moreno, we're running out of time," Trask shouted, firing a burst of plasma rounds. "Got it," she cried triumphantly. The console emitted a high-pitched whine as the virus infiltrated the Threxan systems. Across the fleet, chaos ensued. Ships veered off course, weapons misfired, and communications dissolved into static. "Let's move," Trask ordered, pulling Moreno away from the console. The team fought their way back to the shuttle, every step a battle for survival. When they finally reached the docking bay, Trask turned to cover their retreat. "Go," he barked. "Not without you," Moreno protested. "That's an order," Trask growled, his eyes fierce. With a reluctant nod, Moreno boarded the shuttle, and it launched just as the docking bay filled with enemy reinforcements. Trask disappeared into the firefight, a smirk on his face as he shouted, "Tell them Earth sends its regards." A Pyrrhic victory. The shuttle escaped, the viral payload wreaking havoc on the Threxan fleet. Humanity had won a critical battle, but the cost was heavy. General Cross stood solemnly in the GDC command center as reports of the mission's success and losses came in. Dr. Ainsley placed a comforting hand on Moreno's shoulder as she wept silently. "He knew the risks," Ainsley said softly, "and he made sure we had a fighting chance." General Cross turned to the room, her voice resolute. "This is just the beginning. They thought we'd crumble under pressure, but they underestimated us. Humanity doesn't just survive. We thrive." As Earth prepared for the next phase of the war, the spark of hope ignited by Trask's sacrifice burned brighter than ever. The aftermath and the rally. The still smoking remnants of alien debris painted the skies over Earth with streaks of fire and metal. Though humanity had landed a decisive blow, the cost weighed heavily on everyone. Captain Jake Trask's valiant sacrifice had become a rallying cry, a symbol of Earth's resolve, but it also reminded them of the fragility of their position. A moment of mourning. In the Global Defense Coalition, GDC, command bunker, a rare moment of silence blanketed the room. General Elena Cross stood before a vast screen displaying a live feed of the Earth's atmosphere, where the burning fragments of the alien flagship slowly descended. "We've bought ourselves time," Cross said, her voice steady but her eyes betraying exhaustion. "But let's not mistake this for a victory. We're still standing, but so are they." Dr. Marcus Ainsley nodded solemnly. The virus disrupted their fleet systems, but they're already adapting. They'll come back stronger. Across the room, Leila Moreno sat in silence, staring at a small worn photograph of her family taped to her workstation. The weight of Trask's last stand pressed heavily on her chest, but so did the knowledge that his sacrifice had given Earth a fighting chance. "It wasn't for nothing," she whispered to herself. The Threxen response. Meanwhile, aboard the partially disabled Erethel, Admiral Callus Tarak seethed with fury. The bridge was a chaotic swirl of alarms and activity as Threxen engineers worked feverishly to restore order to their systems. "How is this possible?" Callus bellowed, slamming a clawed fist against the arm of his command chair. "Admiral," First Officer Jen Tharak said, her voice calm despite the tension. "The human's viral payload was highly sophisticated. It exploited vulnerabilities in our central command network that we didn't anticipate." Callus glared at her, his crimson eyes blazing. "I don't need excuses, Tharak. I need solutions. How long until our fleet is fully operational?" "Several cycles, Admiral," she replied. "But we've identified the virus's origin. It was deployed directly from within the ship. The humans infiltrated us." Callus's expression twisted into a snarl. "Then their audacity will be their downfall. Prepare the fleet for a counterstrike, and this time, no mercy." Earth's call to unity. Back on Earth, General Cross addressed a global audience. Every screen, every device capable of receiving a transmission, carried her image as she stood before the United Nations Assembly. "Today we faced an enemy unlike any we've ever encountered, HFY. An enemy that underestimated the resilience, courage, and ingenuity of humanity. Against all odds, we struck back. But make no mistake, this is far from over." Her voice grew stronger, her words carrying the weight of a leader determined to inspire hope. "This fight isn't about one nation, one group, or one people. It's about all of us. Every scientist, every soldier, every citizen has a role to play. We need your minds, your hands, and your hearts. Together, we can push back against the darkness that threatens to consume us." Across the globe, her words ignited a fire. Factories repurposed to produce advanced weapons and armor. Scientists pooled their knowledge to refine Earth's technology, and ordinary people volunteered in droves, ready to stand in defense of their home. A new alliance. In a secure facility beneath the Rocky Mountains, Dr. Ainsley worked tirelessly alongside Moreno and a team of international scientists. Their objective was bold: to create a weapon that could turn the tide of the war decisively. "We can't just rely on our technology," Ainsley said, gesturing to a holographic projection of a Threxen warship. "We need to think beyond their expectations, something they've never seen before." Moreno hesitated, then spoke up. "What if we combine what we've learned from the Threxens with our own systems? Use their technology against them?" Ainsley's eyes lit up. "You're suggesting hybrid technology, integrating their energy cores with our weapon systems. It's risky," Moreno admitted, "but it could give us an edge they won't anticipate." Ainsley nodded. "Then let's get to work. If we're going to survive, we'll have to redefine the rules of engagement." The first hybrid test. Weeks later, the team unveiled their first prototype. The Vanguard Mark I, a hybrid starfighter incorporating Threxen energy propulsion and Earth's advanced targeting systems. The sleek, angular craft glowed faintly with alien energy, a testament to the unity of human ingenuity and alien technology. General Cross and a select group of military officials watched as the Vanguard was prepared for its maiden flight. The pilot, Lieutenant Aaron Voss, climbed into the cockpit with a mixture of excitement and trepidation. "Voss, remember," Cross said through the comms. "This isn't just a test. This is the future of our fight." "Understood, General," Voss replied, her voice steady. "Let's show them what we've got." The Vanguard roared to life, its engines emitting a low, otherworldly hum. It soared into the sky with an elegance and speed that left the observers speechless. In simulated combat scenarios, it outmaneuvered traditional Threxan ships with ease, its advanced weaponry delivering precise, devastating blows. When Voss landed, the hangar erupted in cheers. "This is it," Cross said, her expression uncharacteristically hopeful. "This is how we win." A declaration of war. As Earth celebrated its breakthrough, Admiral Kalis delivered a chilling message to the planet. His holographic image appeared across all frequencies, his voice a menacing growl. "Humans," he began, "you have defied the will of the Threxan Dominion. You have dared to strike at our heart. For this, you will suffer." Kalis's crimson eyes burned with malice. "Your resistance will crumble, your leaders will kneel, and your world will be ours. Prepare for annihilation." The message sent shockwaves through Earth's population, but instead of fear, it kindled determination. Across the globe, people rallied under a singular banner: survival. The calm before the storm. As preparations intensified, General Cross stood alone on the observation deck of the GDC Command Center, staring out at the stars. She knew the next battle would determine the fate of humanity. Dr. Ainsley joined her, his expression weary but resolute. "Think we got a shot?" he asked. Cross's lips curved into a faint smile. "We've got more than that. We've got heart. And sometimes, that's all it takes." The stars above seemed to pulse with life, as if the universe itself was holding its breath. The storm was coming, and Earth would be ready. The gathering storm. The faint hum of humanity's war machines filled the air, echoing across continents as the world united for the coming battle. Factories churned day and night, producing weapons, ships, and the newly developed Vanguard Mark I starfighters. Across Earth's military bases, soldiers trained harder than ever, their determination unwavering despite the shadow of annihilation looming over them. A call to action. In the heart of the Global Defense Coalition, GDC headquarters, General Elena Cross addressed her command staff. The holographic map of Earth displayed the locations of Threxan fleet movements in orbit, glowing ominously in red. "We've confirmed their next move," she said, her voice cutting through the tension. "The Threxans are positioning for a full-scale planetary invasion. Their forces are converging at 3 key points: North America, Asia, and Africa. If they break through, we lose." Her piercing gray eyes scanned the room. "But we're not going to let that happen. Humanity has faced extinction before, and every time, we've risen stronger. This time will be no different." She turned to Dr. Marcus Ainsley and Leila Moreno. "How's the hybrid fleet progressing?" Ainsley nodded. "The Vanguards are ready. With their advanced targeting systems and Threxan-enhanced propulsion, they'll be faster and deadlier than anything we've deployed before." "And the fusion weapon?" Cross pressed. Moreno hesitated but then replied, "It's experimental. But if it works, it'll neutralize their flagship and give us the upper hand. We're calling it the Pulsar Core." Cross nodded. "Good. This is it, people. We hit them with everything we've got." Dismissed. The hidden agenda. In orbit, aboard the damaged Ereithol, Admiral Kalis Tarak brooded in his private chamber. His first officer, Jenth Farrak, entered, her expression unreadable. "Admiral, the humans are preparing a counterstrike," she reported. Kalis smirked. "Let them. They're like insects scrambling to defend their nest. Our reinforcements will arrive soon, and when they do, Earth will burn." Farrak hesitated, her crimson eyes narrowing. "Admiral, if I may speak freely." Kalis gestured for her to continue. "The humans are not what we expected. Their ingenuity, their adaptability. It's unlike any species we've encountered. Perhaps it's worth considering another approach." Kalis's expression darkened. "You sound like one of them, Farrak. Have you forgotten the purpose of the Dominion? We conquer. We do not negotiate." Farrak stiffened but said nothing further. She knew that defying Callus would lead to more than her dismissal. It would mean her execution. As she left the chamber, a thought lingered in her mind. Perhaps Callus's arrogance would be the Dominion's undoing. The Vanguard Offensive. The first wave of Earth's counterstrike began with a fleet of vanguards launching from hidden bases across the planet. The hybrid starfighters, piloted by humanity's best, streaked through the atmosphere and into space like blazing comets. Lieutenant Aaron Voss, now the leader of the elite Shadow Squadron, led the charge. Shadow Squadron, form up, Voss commanded through her comms. Remember, we're not just fighting for survival. We're fighting for everyone back home. The squadron acknowledged with firm resolve. As they neared the Threxan fleet, the enemy ships began to shift into defensive formations. Voss's targeting systems lit up with dozens of red markers. Engage, she ordered. The battle erupted in a dazzling display of light and fire. The Vanguard's advanced maneuverability allowed them to outflank the Threxan ships, their weapons piercing through alien armor with precision. For the first time, humanity was not just holding the line, they were winning. The Pulsar Core deployment. While the Vanguards kept the Threxans occupied, a second operation was underway. Deep in an underground facility, Leela Moreno and Dr. Ainsley oversaw the final preparations for the Pulsar Core weapon. The device, a compact sphere of glowing energy, was mounted onto a stealth bomber. "This is it," Ainsley said. "Once deployed, the Pulsar Core will generate a localized gravitational collapse. It'll disable their flagship systems and possibly destroy its core entirely." Moreno hesitated. "Possibly. It's experimental," Ainsley admitted. "But it's our best shot." Moreno nodded, determination hardening her features. "Then let's make it count." The bomber launched, its cloaking systems rendering it nearly invisible. Piloted by a veteran named Commander Roy Danner, the craft slipped through the chaos of the battle, heading straight for the Erechthal. Betrayal in the ranks. On board the Erechthal, Jen Tharok wrestled with her conscience. She had seen enough of Callus's hubris and the human resistance to realize that the Threxan Dominion's approach was doomed. As the human stealth bomber approached, Varrock made her decision. She accessed the ship's command systems and covertly disabled a segment of the fleet's sensor grid. "Admiral," she said, addressing Callus, "we have an unknown object approaching." Callus dismissed her warning. "Let it come. They can do nothing to us." Varrock silently hoped the humans would prove him wrong. The final strike. Commander Danner's bomber breached the Erechthul's defenses, gliding into position beneath the massive vessel. Inside, the Pulsar Core began to hum with energy, its glow intensifying. "This is for Earth," Danner said, activating the device. The core released a surge of energy, creating a gravitational pulse that rippled through the flagship. Systems flickered and failed as the ship's massive engines began to destabilize. On the bridge, Callus roared in fury. "What is happening?" Varrock, calm amidst the chaos, turned to him. "Perhaps it's time to consider surrender, Admiral." Callus lunged at her, but before he could strike, the ship shuddered violently. The Pulsar Core had done its job. A hopeful dawn. With the Erechthul disabled, the Threxan fleet faltered. Earth's forces seized the opportunity, pressing the attack and driving the invaders back. The remaining Threxan ships retreated, their once mighty fleet shattered. In the aftermath, General Cross addressed the world. "We stood on the brink of extinction," she said, her voice filled with pride. "But together, we faced the darkness and emerged victorious. This is not just a victory for humanity. It's a message to the stars. We will not be conquered." As Earth celebrated, Leela Moreno and Dr. Ainsley stood together, looking up at the night sky. "It's over," Moreno said softly. "For now," Ainsley replied. "But we've proven something today. Humanity is stronger than anyone thought." In the heavens above, the stars shimmered, a silent witness to Earth's resilience and the dawn of a new era. The silent threat. Though Earth had secured a major victory, the war was far from over. The wreckage of Threxan ships still orbited the planet, a grim reminder of the cost of survival. Humanity's celebration was tempered by the knowledge that the Threxans would return, likely with even greater force. But what they didn't realize was that the enemy's most dangerous weapon wasn't in the stars. It was already on Earth. The aftermath. In the Global Defense Coalition, GDC, Command Center, General Elena Cross oversaw recovery efforts. Cities across the globe worked tirelessly to rebuild. Rescue teams sifted through rubble, engineers restored critical infrastructure, and scientists combed through alien wreckage for any technological insights. General Leila Moreno said, walking into the command room, her face pale, "We found something in the wreckage of one of their drones." Cross turned, her expression sharp. "What is it?" Moreno handed her a tablet displaying a detailed schematic of an alien device. "It's a signal beacon." It was transmitting data back to the Threxans even after their fleet retreated. Cross's eyes narrowed. "They've been spying on us, even in defeat. What kind of data?" Moreno hesitated. "Everything. Military formations, strategic positions, even civilian infrastructure. They know more about us than we know about them." Cross clenched her fists. "Get this to Ainsley and his team. I want to know how deep this goes, and how we can stop it. A hidden enemy." Meanwhile, in the dense jungles of South America, an isolated Threxan escape pod had landed unnoticed during the chaos of the battle. Its occupant, Sub-Commander Kalnar, emerged, injured but alive. Kalnar was no ordinary Threxan. A cunning strategist and a master of infiltration, he quickly assessed his situation. Alone and stranded, he knew he had one mission: gather intelligence and sabotage humanity's defenses from within. The jungle provided ample cover as Kalnar began his work. Using his personal cloaking device, he avoided detection by local patrols and scavenged materials to repair his communicator. Over time, he began to piece together Earth's vulnerabilities, feeding the data into his handheld device. "This world is more resilient than anticipated," he murmured to himself, his crimson eyes gleaming. "But every species has a weakness." The race against time. Back at GDC headquarters, Dr. Marcus Ainsley and his team worked around the clock to analyze the beacon's transmissions. Holographic projections filled the lab, displaying streams of alien code that even their most advanced systems struggled to decrypt. "This isn't just reconnaissance," Ainsley said, rubbing his temples. "It's a two-way system. They're not just learning about us. They're preparing for something." Leila Moreno, seated nearby, looked up from her console. "Could they be coordinating a counterstrike?" Ainsley nodded grimly. "That's the most likely scenario. But we need proof." The team's work was interrupted by an incoming message from a forward operations base in South America. "General Cross," the transmission began, "we've detected unusual activity in the Amazon basin. Scanners picked up traces of alien energy signatures, but they're faint, almost as if they're being masked." Cross immediately dispatched a team to investigate, led by none other than Lieutenant Aaron Voss. Into the jungle. The dense canopy of the Amazon rainforest stretched endlessly as Voss and her team navigated the rugged terrain. Armed with experimental tracking devices and advanced weaponry, they moved with caution, knowing that the slightest mistake could cost them their lives. "Stay sharp," Voss ordered, her voice steady. "We're not just looking for debris. If there's something alive out here, it's not friendly." The team soon stumbled upon a clearing where the foliage had been scorched, and the ground was littered with fragments of alien metal. In the center of the destruction lay the remnants of a Threxan escape pod. "Looks like we found our source," one of the soldiers said, scanning the area. "Don't get comfortable," Voss replied. "If there's a pod, there's a survivor." As if on cue, the team's sensors began to blare. Cloaked in near invisibility, Kalnar attacked with precision, taking down 2 soldiers before the rest could react. Voss fired a burst from her plasma rifle, the rounds narrowly missing the agile Threxan. "Spread out. Don't let it get away." Kalinar, realizing he was outnumbered, retreated deeper into the jungle, leaving a trail of blood behind. Voss signaled her team to pursue, determined to eliminate the threat. A deadly encounter. Kalinar led the humans on a relentless chase through the jungle, using his intimate knowledge of Threxan tactics to set traps and ambushes. Despite his injuries, he managed to hold his own, taking out several more soldiers in the process. But Voss was no ordinary adversary, drawing on years of combat experience. She anticipated Kalinar's moves, countering his traps with calculated precision. The pursuit culminated in a tense standoff at the edge of a cliff overlooking a roaring river. Kalinar stood with his back to the precipice, his weapon aimed at Voss. "You fight well," he said, his voice calm despite his predicament. "But you are too late. The Dominion will return, and when they do, your world will burn." Voss narrowed her eyes. "Not if we find a way to stop them first. Surrender now, and we might let you live." Kalinar chuckled darkly. "You misunderstand, human. I have already won." With that, he activated a self-destruct sequence on his device. Voss lunged forward, firing her weapon. But it was too late. The device exploded, sending a pulse of energy into the sky. The signal. Back at GDC headquarters, alarms blared as the explosion's energy pulse was detected. "General Cross," an analyst called out, "we've intercepted a massive transmission. It's a signal, coordinates, sent directly to the Threxan fleet." Cross slammed her fist on the table. "They know we're vulnerable. How long until they arrive?" The analyst's face paled. "If they're using hyperspace lanes, days, maybe hours." Preparing for the final battle. In the hours that followed, Earth's defenses mobilized at an unprecedented scale. The Vanguard fleet was expanded, and the Pulsar Core weapon was modified for larger-scale deployment. Civilians were evacuated to fortified zones, and every available resource was poured into the fight. Dr. Ainsley worked alongside Moreno, refining the hybrid technology that had proven so effective. "This is it," Ainsley said. "Our last stand. If we fail, there won't be another chance." Moreno nodded. "Then we won't fail." As the stars above began to shift, signaling the arrival of the Threxan reinforcements, humanity stood united, ready to face the storm.